You think you're eating healthy. You follow the rules, you avoid the obvious junk, and you reach for foods labeled heart healthy. But what if I told you that some of those very foods, yes, the ones with the bright labels and doctor endorsements, are quietly increasing your risk of heart disease? Sounds unbelievable, right? But what if the very foods you've been told to trust are actually sabotaging your health, especially if you're over 60? Why do so many seniors still suffer from clogged arteries, fatigue, high blood pressure, and chronic inflammation, even when they're doing everything right? Could it be that the foods we've been trained to embrace are doing more harm than good? You're about to find out. Make sure you subscribe now, because by the end of this video, you're going to rethink everything you believed about healthy eating. And what you learn today might just be the key to protecting your heart, extending your life, and reclaiming your energy. Let's get into it. Imagine you're sitting down to a meal that looks healthy. Whole grains, maybe some yogurt, a splash of heart-healthy oil, and a nice big glass of juice. Feels like the right thing to do. But under the surface, your body is reacting slowly, silently, and in ways that could lead to serious trouble down the line. You might not feel it right away. That's the catch. These foods don't cause a sudden crash. They wear you down over time. Let's start with that whole grain toast you keep reaching for. After all, it's not white bread, it's whole wheat, right? So it must be good for you. Except here's the thing. When you eat bread, even whole wheat bread, your blood sugar spikes. Not just a little. The glycemic index of whole wheat bread is nearly identical to white bread. That's right. Whole wheat has a glycemic index of around 74, while white bread is about 75, practically the same. Your pancreas doesn't care what the label says. It just sees glucose flooding in, triggering a surge of insulin. And when this happens day after day, year after year, your cells stop listening to insulin. That's how insulin resistance begins. And that's the hidden root of heart disease, obesity, high blood pressure, and more. Now here's where it gets even more disturbing. You probably eat bread with something on top. Maybe some plant-based margarine, because saturated fat is bad, right? We've been told for decades that butter clogs your arteries, that margarine is the smart choice. But margarine is loaded with seed oils, canola, soybean, corn. These oils are high in omega-6 fatty acids, which in excess promote chronic inflammation. And inflammation is one of the primary drivers of heart disease. When these oils oxidize, especially during cooking or processing, they generate harmful compounds that damage your blood vessels from the inside out. So you've replaced real food, like butter, with a synthetic product that inflames your arteries and contributes to plaque buildup. Not exactly heart-friendly. And what do you wash all this down with? Maybe a glass of orange juice or apple juice, or something that says no added sugar on the label. But here's a brutal truth. Fruit juice is liquid sugar. A cup of apple juice contains almost as much sugar as a can of soda. The difference? You think it's healthy? Your liver doesn't. It processes the fructose in that juice the same way it processes alcohol, by turning it into fat. And where does that fat go? Straight to your liver, where it begins to accumulate, leading to fatty liver disease. Over time, that fat spills over into your bloodstream, raising your triglycerides, increasing your LDL particles, and setting the stage for cardiovascular disease. And this happens while you're thinking you're making a good choice. But let's say you skip the juice. You're smarter than that. You go for something high in protein, maybe a low-fat yogurt. It's marketed as clean, light, heart-healthy. But take a closer look. What do you see? Added sugars, artificial flavors, sweeteners that trick your brain but still disrupt your metabolism. Even the ones labeled sugar-free aren't safe, because when they replace sugar with chemical sweeteners like aspartame or sucralose, they interfere with your gut microbiome. That community of bacteria in your gut plays a crucial role in inflammation, immunity, and metabolic health. Mess with it, and you're not just risking indigestion, you're increasing your vulnerability to everything from heart disease to cognitive decline. And then there's the cereal. Oh, cereal. How many of us start our day with it believing we're doing the right thing? Bran flakes, oatmeal, granola, they sound so innocent, but these foods are still carbohydrates, and often refined ones. At that, they're highly processed, stripped of nutrients, and engineered to be absorbed quickly. That means another spike in blood sugar, another surge of insulin. And here's a question no one seems to ask. Why do you feel hungry again just 2 hours later, it's not because you didn't eat enough. It's because your blood sugar crashed and now your body is scrambling to bring it back up. So you eat again and again and again. It's a vicious cycle, and it's quietly pushing you toward metabolic syndrome, the very condition that puts your heart at risk. Now let's pause for a second and ask something important. If these so-called heart-healthy foods are doing so much damage, why are they still recommended? Why are they on food pyramids, in school lunches, on hospital trays? The answer isn't simple, but part of it lies in decades-old dietary guidelines that were based on flawed science. For years, we were told that fat was the enemy, that cholesterol caused heart disease. But newer research has completely flipped that narrative. We now know that inflammation, not cholesterol, is the real threat, that not all fats are bad. In fact, some fats are essential for protecting your heart, your brain, your hormones. But the problem is that these updated insights haven't reached the mainstream. The old myths persist, and so millions of seniors continue to eat foods that sabotage their health, thinking they're doing the right thing. And here's the twist. Your doctor might be recommending these foods too, not because they want to harm you, but because their training was based on outdated science. Most medical schools spend shockingly little time on nutrition. So unless your doctor is actively seeking out new research, they're likely passing on the same advice they were taught 20 years ago. That's why it's so important that you take control, that you question everything, that you understand how your body actually works. So what should you do instead? First, become aware. Start questioning every label, every health claim. Ask yourself, does this food actually nourish me? Or is it just a product dressed up as healthy? Second, think about how your body responds. Do you feel energized, stable, clear-headed? Or do you crash, crave more, and feel bloated or tired? Your body is constantly giving you feedback. Learn to listen to it. And most importantly, understand this. It's not about giving up everything you love. It's about making better choices that truly support your heart and your health. Because the real heart-healthy foods don't come in a box. They don't have health claims stamped across the front. They don't need marketing. They just are. Real food doesn't need a label. If you're over 50 and your joints ache when you get out of bed, go upstairs or just try to enjoy a walk. It's not your age, and it's not your fault. The real issue? Your body's running out of a natural substance that cushions your joints like a shock absorber. And most supplements out there, glucosamine, collagen, all of it, don't fix this. But now, researchers have discovered a breakthrough that can actually restore what your joints are missing. And people in their 60s, 70s, even 80s are seeing real relief. If you're feeling stiff, sore, or weaker lately, stop guessing. Check the link in the pinned comment now. If you've made it this far, you're probably realizing that the foods we've trusted for decades may not be the heroes we thought they were. And now, we're going to dig even deeper into the final culprits. The remaining foods you must stop eating if you're a senior who cares about heart health, longevity, and quality of life. Because the deeper we go, the more you'll see how cleverly the truth has been hidden. But once you know, you can never unknow. And that knowledge? It's power. Let's talk about vegetable oils. Sounds healthy, right? They have the word vegetable in them. They're light, flavorless, and every major health organization has pushed them as a smart alternative to butter and lard. But here's the problem. These oils, soybean oil, corn oil, safflower, sunflower, and canola, are industrial products. They don't come from vegetables you can pluck from the ground. They come from seeds that are heated, pressed, bleached, deodorized, and treated with solvents to extract every last drop. This isn't food. It's a processed oil with a hidden agenda. And what's that agenda? Inflammation. When these oils are processed, they become unstable. They oxidize easily, especially when heated, and when you consume them, they create compounds that damage the cells lining your arteries. Your immune system sees this damage and jumps in to repair it, creating inflammation. Over time, that chronic inflammation becomes the foundation of atherosclerosis, the thickening and hardening of the arteries. It's not fat that clogs your arteries, it's inflammation, and the worst part? These oils are in nearly everything. Salad dressings, store-bought hummus, crackers, even so-called healthy granola bars. Now, I know what you might be thinking. If I can't trust margarine or vegetable oil or even whole wheat bread, what's left? It's overwhelming. But don't panic, because the solution isn't complexity. its simplicity. Whole, unprocessed foods, foods without labels, foods your grandparents would recognize. And that brings us to another silent saboteur that many seniors still believe is a good choice: low-fat dairy. For decades, the push was to remove fat from dairy products. Milk, cheese, yogurt, all stripped of their natural fats and replaced with sugar, starches, or synthetic thickeners. The promise? Heart health. The reality? Blood sugar spikes, insulin resistance, and nutrient loss. When you remove fat, you're not just taking out calories, you're taking out fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K. These nutrients protect your heart, your brain, your bones. And when dairy is low-fat, those vitamins are either missing or added back in artificially, which is never quite the same. Worse yet, many low-fat dairy products are sweetened to improve taste. So what you think is a healthy snack is often a disguised dessert. And for seniors, this is especially dangerous, because as we age, our tolerance for sugar decreases, our metabolism slows, our insulin response weakens. So even a small spike in blood sugar has a bigger impact than it would have 30 years ago. And over time, those impacts add up to major risks: diabetes, heart disease, even dementia. But there's another reason to rethink low-fat: satiety. Fat is satisfying. It keeps you full. It slows digestion. It signals your brain that you've eaten enough. Without it, you're more likely to snack between meals, eat larger portions, and crave more carbs. And that sets the stage for weight gain and hormonal imbalance. So if you're still buying the skim milk, the fat-free yogurt, the low-fat cheese, it's time to stop. Full-fat dairy from clean sources is not your enemy. In fact, it might be one of your greatest allies. So where does all this leave us? Let's recap for a second. Whole wheat bread still spikes your blood sugar. Margarine and vegetable oils, fuel for inflammation. Fruit juice, liquid sugar with a health halo. Low-fat dairy, nutrient-depleted and sugar-loaded. And yet these are the staples in many seniors' kitchens. The irony? Most people choose them to avoid heart problems, when in fact they may be the very reason heart problems persist. But here's the good news. You can take control. You can make smarter choices starting today. And it begins with a shift in mindset, a willingness to question the norm. Because the truth is, your body knows what it needs. And when you feed it the right foods, real foods, you'll feel it. More energy, better sleep, clearer thinking, less pain, more vitality. And let's be real for a moment. Aging doesn't have to mean decline. It doesn't have to mean more medications, more doctor visits, more limitations. It can mean wisdom, freedom, and yes, strength. But that only happens when you fuel your body properly. Not with trendy snacks or food industry gimmicks, but with nutrient-dense meals that support your metabolism, reduce inflammation, and stabilize your blood sugar. So, what should you reach for instead? Focus on foods that are as close to their natural form as possible. Eggs, yes, with the yolk. Grass-fed meats, wild-caught fish, avocados, nuts, seeds, olives, cruciferous vegetables, leafy greens, fermented foods that support your gut, and healthy fats like extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil, and yes, even grass-fed butter. These are the true heart heroes. They don't come with flashy packaging or bold claims, but they do come with real measurable benefits. And one more thing, don't fall into the trap of fear. The food industry thrives on it. Fear of fat, fear of cholesterol, fear of not following the rules. But your body doesn't need fear. It needs nourishment. It needs balance. It needs truth. So, if you're ready to reclaim your health, to protect your heart, and to stop falling for the same tired lies that have been pushed on us for decades, now is the time. Swap the fake for the real, the processed for the whole, the convenient for the intentional. It's not too late. Your heart will thank you, your energy will return, and your future, your vibrant, powerful, independent future is waiting. If this video opened your eyes, you're going to love what's coming next. Click on the video on screen now to discover the foods that clean your arteries naturally. It's packed with actionable tips and the truth no one else is telling you. Go watch it now. Your heart depends on it.